So welcome to Gaia Awakening Teachings. And in this episode, we're going to be discussing presence and becoming a master of your consciousness. But before we dive into the wisdom, let's just take a moment to center with this beautiful ambient music. So just take a moment to take a hand on your heart. Just close down the eyes and just start to breathe into the center of your chest, which is the site of the heart center. And just imagine that your heart is shining with light, the light of love, the light of wisdom. We can take a nice clearing sigh from the heart, clearing our consciousness, the seat of our soul. Space. So, for me, the practice of presence, of being present, is one of the eternal hallmarks of spirituality. And I find nowadays that spirituality has become oh so popular, which is but a sign of this great time of awakening that we are living. We are living prophecy. There have been so many prophecies, so many mystics, indigenous sages who have said that this time is the great awakening, when humanity is coming into awareness of its spirituality, its spiritual gifts. You could say this is also the holy shift into the age of Aquarius, which is the age of divine humanity, when we remember our divinity, but not just our divinity. We remember that we are living in a divine cosmos itself, which is very, very profound. And we're just at the early stages of it. And of course, it's inevitably going to be clumsy having a spiritual awakening in the world system that we have now in Western civilization, which is capitalism. And a lot of people are getting very cynical about spirituality. There's a lot of performative spirituality and such. And we also live in this increasingly technocratic world where there's things like this phone that I'm speaking to you right now and recording this on my camera. And then the internet. And now with AI, things have gotten to a whole other level of craziness. But really, the challenge with all this technological evolution is the distraction element. It distracts us. It rips us away. We spend much more time on screens than we do in community with each other, and especially more time than we do in nature, which is where we really want to be sure that we're spending time, primary time, every day, because nature is the frequencies of the goddess, of Gaia Sophia, of the great Mother Earth, and she is the one who is actually also going through an awakening process. According to the ancient Gnostics, she is the one who is priming our awakening. It's her that is receiving these cosmic upgrades first, and then we are receiving them through her, and of course our own cosmic antenna and reception. But that is why I find myself in this very frenetic age of so much distraction, so much busyness, that I keep coming back to the basics of my spiritual practice. These practices need to be consolidated and renewed constantly because they are so important. They are the daily bread of what makes the good life. And really what that is about is meditation, which is a portal into being more present with your awareness. So I will say, and we'll do a little meditation at the end here today, but I really feel that everyone should be meditating every single day. Because when you meditate, you are practicing to have empowerment of your consciousness. And what I mean by that is you're learning to discern the different states of consciousness, because we actually are multidimensional. We have different states of consciousness. We have our egoic consciousness, my personal, I am Darren knowing consciousness. But we also have these mystical senses of being connected to the whole entire universe. And those realms of our consciousness are things that we're not educated about apprehending. Most of us do not even have any awareness of them until we have, whether by some synchronous accident or our own well-intention, a spiritual experience where we become observant of our consciousness itself, and we become aware that there are different aspects that we can access in our consciousness. And that is about being more and more present, because more present, we are listening, we are observing our consciousness, and that is really the key, the basic, essential key to becoming a master of your consciousness. So a little backstory here. So when I had my spiritual awakening when I was 22 years old, and I found, all these wonderful things like yoga and meditation and many occult and esoteric traditions that I just absolutely drove into completely passionately, it was the book by Eckhart Tolle called The Power of Now, which I really see as canonical, a kind of Bible, because what Tolle outlines in this book is a very clear understanding of what it is to be in present moment awareness, which is what we're also trying to do in meditation. When we meditate once a day, when we sit and we just watch and observe the mind, what we are doing is actually attending to our presence. We are amplifying, we are enhancing it. We are dedicating ourselves to be focused and to be present to ourselves. And in that book, Tolle really lays out how to live that beyond the seat of your meditation, how you can go into your life. And he has this very genius way of describing what he calls the inner body awareness, which is the energy field of the body. And this is why one of the teachings that I really am passionate about is what I call devotional embodiment, being so devotedly embodied in your body as a bridge point to bringing you into the present. What I mean by that is you cannot be out of the present moment when you are in the body, when you are feeling the body, when you are feeling your heart. All of this is happening right here, right now, in this moment. If the heart were to take some time off and daydream, as our intellect is prone to do, we would be in some health trouble. So our heart is the organ of presence. It is always presence. It's keeping the rhythm of our life. And so when we come into meditation, when we come into presence, this is really one of the reasons why people say it is living by the heart. So one of the things you'll start to realize as you become more present to your mind, and when I say mind, I am not just speaking of the intellect, but in this case, the intellect is that aspect of the mind that is dualistic consciousness. If you think about the brain, which is where the intellect is housed, the brain has two hemispheres, and it's going back and forth between right, wrong, left, right, good, bad, me, them. And that's important for us to function in this third dimension, in this material physical reality. We need that aspect of ourselves, but we also have other aspects of ourselves. So oftentimes, people's common experience of life is that they're constantly dreaming about the future and about the past. And they're probably torturing themselves because those things don't necessarily exist right now. But how often do we think about the future and some event that's about to happen, and it causes anxiety, and we have heart palpitations. Our body starts to respond as if it's happening right now. And one of the biggest drains on our energy is actually this constant overthinking that occurs, where we're just constantly blah, 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 thinking with our mind. When you start to meditate and you start to become more present, you start to connect to your inner body awareness, the energy of the body. One of the first things you realize is how much more energy you have. You are no longer just spilling out your attention all the time. And attention is the greatest gift that we can give ourselves. And the practice of presence is not just for ourselves, it's for every relationship that we have, every experience we have, because when we bring our presence to bear, it tends to bring excellence in those experiences. We become better listeners. We start to access this kind of divine intelligence that comes when we meditate or we contemplate, which is just thinking in a relaxed manner. It's kind of a contemplative or meditative thinking. We start to realize there's insights that come out of nowhere, which we would have never gathered if we were just constantly in this back and forth in the mind. Interestingly, when we meditate, we actually activate this very potent part of the brain called the corpus callosum, which is the bridge between the left and the right hemisphere. So meditation and presence is really also accessing unity consciousness, and that is one of the flagships of this Aquarian age. So it would do well for us to start practicing at this if we don't already, or to use the inspiration of this talk to double and triple down on your practice, because the more you meditate and the more present you become, the more you're no longer victim to this constant pendulum swinging of the mind, where a lot of anxiety lives. A lot of that anxiety, I also believe, is because we're in that moment betraying the trust that our heart always has the answers. The Taoists called it the guiding realm. Whenever we calm down and come present into our heart and just relax, it magically all of a sudden just appears, these insights, these revelations of what we need to do. So this is a very powerful and important practice. Now, one thing you'll probably realize when you become present, like in your meditation practice, you'll start to realize that the mind is very unruly. It's constantly going, it's constantly thinking. Now, we're not going to get rid of that, and we wouldn't want to, because that is part of the computational analytical tool that the intellect is. But we can't stop it anyways. So it's about, actually, I like the image, and many meditation teachers use this. It's about stepping outside of the river of thoughts and realizing that you can actually step outside and sit on the riverbank and just observe. The Buddhists call this the witness. And when you start to develop this watching of the mind, this witness consciousness, it's a very profound, almost enlightening moment for most people, because they start to realize in that moment, whoa, wait a second, there's another aspect of my consciousness here. I can actually liberate, disengage from the thinking and just watch. Now, it doesn't mean we're disassociating from the experience. We're realizing that as we step back, we're becoming a deeper and a greater part of ourselves. And that part of ourselves is usually filled with a lot of wisdom, and it will come through eventually, which is very profound. So when it comes to mastering consciousness, what we want to become is masters of discerning when we are in more of this egoic, analytical consciousness. And the more we meditate, the more presence we bring to our lives, the more we'll build this relationship to this higher consciousness, to the point where we will know its qualities. We will feel the peace that washes over us. We will feel the energy of our bodies. And the wonderful thing about feeling your body as an anchor point into the present moment is your body will respond. It's like a loving, it loves to receive our attention. It's like a beloved. And so the more we give it our attention, the more we will feel it. And you'll feel it in things like the palms of your hands, because the hands are actually some of the most powerful energetic centers in the body. Some of the most powerful heart acupuncture points are actually emanating out of the hands. So when we come off of our seat of meditation, we go about our daily life. I encourage you to take the time, no matter what you're doing, most especially in mundane activities such as washing dishes or going for a walk, to be present. And you can use your breath awareness, because you're breathing right now. Breath is always happening now. It's a flow state. Use your breath to anchor you into the body. Take your senses and pay attention to them. What do you smell right now? What do you see right now? The Taoists say put your mind in your feet. Really feel your feet. I had a teacher once who used to walk meditatively. So whenever we'd go out to dinner and we'd walk, to the subway station, a 5-minute walk typically would take like 30 minutes. He would just walk one foot after the other. Not all the time, but just as a practice every now and again, especially in the city we were both living in. So it was almost like throwing us into the fire to walk in this rat race with everyone scurrying about. And we're these like two stoic monks, like walking very slowly. It was very powerful practice, just like yoga practice, the yoga poses, the yoga asanas. In my opinion, what we're doing there when we hold the poses, which is more of a traditional hatha technique, because there's a lot of yoga now that's become about vinyasa, movement yoga, fitness yoga. And while that's well and good, some of the yoga that I believe a lot of us need as an antidote for our distracted and weak awareness is to hold poses. And when you hold the pose, you're supposed to hold what's known as the drushti, which is the gaze point. So if you're doing like warrior 2 and your arms are stretched out, you're supposed to keep your gaze for maybe the 10 or 15 breaths on the fingertip of your hand. Focus on those fingertips. And what you're doing is you're practicing to be present in kind of micro stress environments, which the poses put you into. So yoga as practice, as a way to enhance and focus and empower attention, is a very powerful way of somatic meditation. I see it as like meditating in our bodies, in our embodiment. So, and this is also, step one into, as we go along in these Gaia Awakening teachings, I'm going to get into a lot of things about like channeling the Awen, as the Druids, the Celtic Druids would call it, the living inspiration that's flowing through us. And in order for that to happen, we have to be present. All the great scientific minds, all the great artists, all the great sages, I'm thinking right now of Einstein and Nikola Tesla, they would often say that their genius, their ideas would come when their mind was calm and they were just receiving. And that becomes very profound, because then you realize we are literally a part of a divine intelligence, and we can learn how to shift and become masters of our consciousness, to move from the analytical consciousness to that more higher consciousness, more of a divine, even feminine consciousness that's more receptive, where we can oracle ideas, art, creativity. And this is crucial right now as we make this holy shift. More and more of humanity has to become channels and receptors for this divine consciousness. And that is all about presence. Presence is a portal. Let that be your mantra. Presence is a portal. Meditate every day if you can, working your way up to at least 20 minutes a day, if not 30. And that's going to give you a moment, a focus point to really strengthen your presence. And then go about your day just constantly watching the mind. And just notice, don't shame yourself anytime you're thinking of the past or the future. Just bring yourself back. If you're hanging out with a friend or your beloved, practice deep listening. Practice being entirely present to them. Especially in loving partnerships, you will see that bringing presence to your beloved is one of the most beautiful things that you can do. It's so powerful. It's so, the generosity will just open your beloved's heart. So I'm going to put on these headphones because I'm going to guide us into a little meditation here at the end and just play some really nice music for us. So let's deepen into some presence practice here. So with the eyes closed, and just taking a nice deep breath into the body and sighing it out, relaxing into the body. And we'll use our breath as a portal. So when I say that, start to become aware of your breath moving into the belly. And see if you can breathe into the space just below your navel. This helps to anchor your awareness and your breath deeper in the body, anchoring in our embodiment. And gently allow your awareness now to just lovingly scan the body. And just seeing if there are any places in the body that are feeling more tense than others, and just see if you can use your awareness to just soften them, just to relax them. Good. And then coming back to fully being present to the breath. Breathing in and out of the nose, just really relishing the breath, just feeling the breath, feeling the expansion of the belly. And now just begin to watch the mind. And if any thoughts come that take you into them, just see if you can return to becoming aware of the breath and becoming a witness of them and just watching. Continuing to watch the mind. Taking a moment just to feel your body, feel your hands. See if you can feel the energy in your hands. So you breathe nice and deep into the belly, rooting in your body. Beautiful. Just watching the mind, feeling the body, watching the mind, feeling the breath. And then gently starting to come back nice and tenderly, making a few movements with your fingers, gently opening the eyes. And just taking a moment to acknowledge how you feel, and feeling gratitude if you feel a certain sense of peace about yourself. So this practice of presence, I invite you to take it into your life for the next few days at least, and for your lifetime, I hope. Dedicate yourself to really being fully aware and present to every circumstance of your life, especially the ones that are uncomfortable and that are challenging. And just see what transformation takes place. Thank you so much for being with me on this Gaia Awakening teaching. I'll have much more wisdom to share very soon, so tune in, subscribe, and may the source be with you.